Alrighty, just how many theories can one make for one show? Fandoms alone have a lot of them depending on where you look, and some a bit more than they need to be. But when it comes to Jungle Emperor, I'm surprised there's so little. You'd think that a franchise with 52 episode animated series 2 times over, 1 animated 26 episode series, and several movies would have gotten at least a few of them. The only one I've seen tackle this was Kimba's Kingdom, and even then he's only has, 3 videos? Then again, how many plausible theories can someone actually make out of this franchise anyway? Most of it is pretty well grounded and self-explanatory with little to actually speculate. Still, some people tend to dig a little deep, which is exactly what I did. And with the digging, I got a few theories conjured up in my head, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. It's okay if you don't agree with any of these theories. It's just guessing and speculation as theories should be, and these are ordered mostly by how much they get involved in the franchise. You'll see what I mean as we go. So, let's get our tinfoil hats on and our brains ready. Let's overthink about our little white lion. Remember the earthquake we had? Okay, so the first theory in our list is right in the beginning. Now, I'm not gonna lie, while I love Kimba, I was never a fan of their homages to James Bond. I don't care if it's James Bond or Sterling Bond or whoever the heck Bond, both tend to be...
I wanted the moonlight stone!
Oh! Get away! Don't let that monster near me! I hate animals!
Kinda dumb. However, there is one issue with episode 2 I've noticed, and I'm sure you might have seen it too if you watch it. The episode itself has this so-called super miniature bomb that's apparently so powerful that natives are willing to pay a fortune to get it. While it's never stated just how strong these bombs are, I'd imagine they'd be pretty dangerous. Or maybe not, since episode 2 actually forgets about them. At least that's how it looked. After the bad guy sets the bomb down on the deck of the boat, it's not brought up again. Or is it? Enter the very next episode. Now, granted, this has nothing to do with James Bond, thank God, but there is one little bit of information we received that I think answers where the bomb went. Boss Rhino and Kimba get into another skirmish at a point, but little Harvey Hedgehog here actually convinces Boss Rhino to go away. And why's that? Well, this.
Harry, what'd you say? Oh, I just told him the Rainbow Bridge would take care of those humans.
Rainbow Bridge? Harry, what do you mean?
The minute anybody sets foot on it, it's going to crumble. Remember that earthquake we had? Well, it loosened the rocks that hold the bridge together. Anybody who weighs more than I do will cause it to fall. And I'm down to a slim 4.5 ounces.
What earthquake? Episodes 1, 2, and 3 don't show any earthquake. Here's where the theory comes in. That super miniature bomb, I think, somehow was either brought there or floated downstream and then detonated underneath the rock bridge, which in turn made it so weak that it'll crumble so much as a slight breeze pushing it. Come to think of it, how's it standing in the first place? One thing at a time. It still answers where the heck the bomb went. Hedgehogs and Brodo birds. How fitting the next theory involved a hedgehog again, and this one is strictly on just one episode. Monster of Petrified Valley. This episode introduces us to the made-up species known as Brodo birds. Madagascar's dinosaurs with a haircut, love flowers, and singing. Keep them away from a flower shop. They'll never leave. The episode explains in detail just what happened to these guys, and mainly goes like this. A land bridge formed between Madagascar and Africa, and with that animals from the mainland invaded, bringing them a disease that wiped out much of the population. They never detailed what disease this is in turn, and really I didn't think much of it at first, until I saw this part.
Well, that's a very nice name. Listen, it's beginning to rain a little bit, fellas.
I've heard that you hedgehogs are very tasty morsels.
Colosso, that's this guy, went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or cuckoo for hedgehogs puffs. Okay, bad joke. And the second he saw him, tried to eat him, literally chasing him all over the plains with all the animals chasing after him. This is out of nowhere and makes you wonder what diet these guys even have, but I can get an idea now what kind of disease got the Brotobirds dead. Salmonella. A common thing, I know, but still one that can make an animal sick. And given these animals are isolated from the rest of the world, if this is indeed accurate to the real world, they probably don't got the immune system for it. So to break it down, hedgehogs catch salmonella, they charge into Madagascar, Brotobirds proceed to eat the hedgehogs, and as such they catch the disease and drop dead. Guess you can also call this a case of gluttony in sinful terms, but I'd lean more towards the first option. Cybernetic grasshopper. Like the Brotobirds, this one's strictly from a single episode of the original series. This one involving episode 23. This gigantic grasshopper, as you can plainly see, is huge, like kaiju sized. But this isn't the first time this happened, won't be the last, so what's there to think about? How about what this even is? Here's the laydown. During the episode, after scaring the feathers off me with that look, why did you do that? We learned prior to this showing up, a week ago exactly, this thing shoots out of the sky, crashes through trees, and slams into the hillside. The animals arrive there and basically find nothing. But when visiting there again later on, they find not only a giant flower, but the giant grasshopper too. Which, with this theory, I'm convinced is a man-made thing. A robot, you can say. Or at the very least an experiment gone wrong. Now, I can already hear you shouting, "But Neon, they explained everything already in the episode. It's a giant grasshopper affected by radiation. How can it be anything different?" Two reasons. One, the series has shown prior to have a bit more of a science fiction tone when it comes to tech. Episode 9 had a tiger with wings, Episode 11 had a gun that can kill using air, and even after that in Episode 29 they got that giant nightmare plant. Two, even if that's true, why is there only one? All the grasshoppers were in one place, and by that logic, all of them should have been infected, right? Also, this giant is a carnivore and a cannibal, which while it is true that there are carnivorous grasshoppers out there, they don't actively hunt anything or eat each other. Radiation can't do that. And also the animals constantly feed the grasshoppers with, grasses and such, so starvation's out of the question. Side note, the sound when it moves sounds a lot like gears moving. And speaking of moving, when Kimba drives it into the volcano near the end of the episode, it looks more like it's being driven there, and doesn't try to get Kimba off at all. All this seems to aim it more towards AI than animal. Leona's real mother. Leona as a character, I'm surprised we hardly know that much about. It really doesn't help that each adaptation changes who she is relating to Kimba. The manga being a cousin, the 1965 anime being an older sister, and the 1989 anime being Panja's sister. The manga in 1989 series I can understand, but I'm left puzzled with 1965. Mostly because of the backstory Leona gives to Panja in episode 19.
I'll tell you the story. One day, a long time ago, a bad lion named Claw came here and attacked the natives. Father chased him away. Father couldn't refuse to help the animals, so he left the village and never came back. I stayed on here to protect the shrine and hides of our ancestors, while Father brought law and order to the jungle.
That's all fine and good, but how are you a thing? Eliza, as far as I know, didn't have any cubs prior to episode 1. given Ponch's main reaction to the news, i.e. that smile. And Leona, well, she's not there. Oh right, she stayed in the village. But Eliza never gave birth until on the boat, so how does that work? Here's the theory. I do believe that by technicality, Leona is Kimba's older sister, but Eliza is not her biological mother. Now, this is not a mistaken child story, don't get that twisted, let me explain. We see that there's a lot of hides in the village, and given how they all lived there in their life, I doubt the villagers would let them leave to find a mate. I'd more believe that the villagers, not wanting to lose their prize, would actually bring a lioness back from the wild for the white lions to mate with. This way, they can have their cake and eat it too, passing on the genes to the next generation without losing the prize. What I think happened is that Leona was the result of an unnamed lioness being brought to the village as Ponch's first mate. Now, one could say that Eliza was that lioness, but again, that reaction tells me otherwise. So I doubt he would have the same reaction twice. Also, how can you have one cub in the village and one cub on the boat at the same time? Besides, Poncho didn't really meet Eliza until after he abandoned the village, at least I presume so. So bringing her back there is out of the question too.